Hello there. This is Biberdos with another presentation of the SKC 1988 Formula mod. Today we will talk about car setups. To open the setup HUD, you need to drive into the red marker in the pit lane. You will see several setup options: fuel, aerodynamics, brakes and gearbox. You can even save and load your car setups for specific racetracks. Today we will only talk about how the fuel and gearbox setups work and how changes will affect your driving. If we fill in the maximum amount of fuel, your car will be heavy. Therefore your acceleration and top speed will decrease. You will also slightly notice the weight in corners. Let's see it on track. Your current fuel level can be seen to the right of your speed indicator. 320 km/h maximum speed on high fuel. Let's check the effects of carrying the minimal amount of fuel. Of course, except of the fuel, we use the same setup like before. If you watch closely, you can see the difference in acceleration. And obviously the top speed is higher with 338 km/h. Be careful not to waste all of your fuel. Your engine will stop and you cannot respawn. To prevent this from happening, your last lap's fuel consumption will be shown every time you cross the finish line. Just look out for the green fuel indicator where you usually see your total fuel level. You can actually change your setup in a way that allows you to run a different fuel strategy. This can result in one less pit stop during the race. This brings us to the gearbox setup. I use a realistic wing setup for this explanation. Fuel will always be on 50 liters. We are now setting up the transmission. In the top of the page you see a little help of the effects your sliders will have. Speed to the left, acceleration to the right. I will set up the gear ratio in favor of better acceleration first and see the result. We reach 300 km/h in 5.06 seconds after we leave the pit lane. Since we changed the ratio of our final gear, the top speed is only 329 km/h. Now let's compare it with a top speed gear ratio setup. Again we use the same aero setup and 50 liters of fuel. We change the gear ratio sliders a little to the left. This time we need 5.14 seconds to 300 km/h after we leave the pit exit. The top speed is at a way better 363 km/h. Be careful with your sliders though. It will have impact on your fuel consumption. You will notice that your engine has fuel consumption sweet spots on certain RPM levels. If you drive in the RPM limiter, the engine will suck out your fuel faster than a French whore. You can of course take over the control with manual shifting. Press F3 to switch between manual and automatic shifting and its key binding. You can short shift to save fuel and downshift in corners for the extra rotation.